You won't believe what happened when two cousins who looked alike and shared a bond got caught in a nightmare they couldn't escape, accused of kidnapping. It all seemed like a simple mistake, until a careless court confession revealed a shocking secret. One of them had a tattoo that called him a dumb American. And that tiny detail unraveled everything. What started as a foolish pride led to a stunning twist that would change their lives forever. In this story, you'll see how arrogance and silly mistakes can spiral out of control, exposing hidden truths and unleashing justice's cruel sense of irony. But the real shock? The secret behind that tattoo and how it became the key to their downfall. A twist you won't see coming. If you're ready for a story of deception, karma, and unexpected justice, hit that like button now. And before we dive deeper, comment below with your location. I want to see where everyone's watching from. Trust me, this is one story you won't forget. I stepped into the courtroom. It was quiet at first, but I could feel the tension in the air. The room was big with high ceilings and cold, hard floors. The walls were lined with rows of seats filled with people. They all stared at us. My cousin and I stood at the front, side by side. We looked alike. Same face, same eyes, same tattoos on our arms. When I saw him, I felt a mix of pride and fear. I knew we were in big trouble. The judge sat high on a platform, looking serious. The courtroom was full of whispering voices. I looked around and saw the witness sitting nervously, trembling because she was scared. Her eyes kept flicking toward us, unsure if she should speak. The prosecutor, a sharp woman with a stern face, sat at her desk, ready to ask questions. Our lawyer sat nearby, calm and confident, but I could see he was worried too. The case was about something very serious. We were accused of kidnapping someone. I didn't think I was guilty, but I knew the court was listening closely. I looked at my cousin. He was confident, maybe too confident. He kept smoking, like he thought he could get out of all this easily. The court was filled with silence. Then the prosecutor spoke. "Today we hear the truth," she said loudly. "We will find out what really happened." I felt my heart beat faster. My cousin looked at me. He had that mischievous smile on his face, like he was ready to say something bold. I felt nervous because I knew he could say anything, but I didn't expect what he was about to do. Suddenly, in the middle of questioning, my cousin blurted out, "I did it." Everyone in the courtroom gasped. The judge raised his hand for silence. I stared at him, shocked. My mouth was open, but I didn't know what to say. The lawyer looked confused and tried to speak, but my cousin kept talking. "I took her," he admitted. "I kidnapped her. I just wanted to see if I could get away with it." The courtroom went completely silent. People stared at him. The witness looked even more scared. The judge looked angry. I couldn't believe he had just said that. Why did he say something so stupid? I looked at him and whispered, "What are you doing?" He shrugged and grinned. "I wanted to be honest. What's the big deal?" His words made the lawyer jump up and wave his arms. "Stop! You can't say that! You're making everything worse!" But my cousin didn't listen. He kept smiling, proud of himself. I felt embarrassed and mad at the same time. I looked at the judge, waiting to see what would happen next. Then something strange happened. The court's translator stood up. He was calm and steady. He had a small notebook and a pen. People looked at him, curious. The translator looked at my cousin's arm. I saw it was covered with a tattoo. It had strange writing on it, letters I didn't understand. The translator took a deep breath and spoke loudly. "This tattoo says 'dumb American' in a foreign language," he explained carefully. Everyone looked surprised. The judge and jury listened closely. I didn't understand what the words meant, but I could see the translator was telling them something important. He continued, "This tattoo was made as a joke. It mocks the person with these words. It's like calling someone stupid in a permanent way." My cousin stared at his arm. He didn't know what the translator was saying. He didn't see the words on his skin. He was still smiling, proud of himself. The courtroom erupted with whispers and some laughter. The judge looked angry. The jury looked surprised. I wanted to tell my cousin to stay quiet, but it was too late. He still didn't understand that he had just insulted himself on his own skin. His bragging had turned into a big mistake. He looked at his lawyer and begged, "Can you explain what I just said? I don't get it." His lawyer tried to speak, but he looked worried. The courtroom was full of noise. People were talking, laughing, and shaking their heads. The judge pounded his gavel and said, "Order in the court. This case just got more complicated." I looked at my cousin. He was totally unaware of what was happening. He thought he had outsmarted everyone, but now his big mistake was clear for all to see. That was the start of a very strange day. We didn't realize it yet, but this moment would change everything. It was the beginning of a story about mistakes, pride, and karma, and it all started in that tense courtroom. I sat in the courtroom, feeling nervous. My heart was pounding. The room was full of people watching us. The judge sat high above, looking serious. The judge's gavel was ready to fall. My cousin, who was sitting next to me, looked just like me. We had the same face, same hair, and even matching tattoos. We looked like twins, but we were very different inside. The courtroom was quiet, except for the judge's voice. "We are here to find out what happened. The case is about a kidnapping. Do you understand?" I nodded slowly. I was scared, but also confused. Why was this happening? I kept thinking about what I did last time. I said something I shouldn't have. It was a mistake that made everything worse. My cousin looked calm and confident. He believed he could get out of trouble easily. But I knew he was also nervous inside. We were both nervous, but he tried to act brave. The witness, a small, trembling person, sat in front of us. They looked scared. They saw something important. The court turned to listen to what they had to say. The witness started to speak. Their voice was shaky. I saw the two of them. They took someone. It was very quick. I was scared to say anything before. Everyone listened closely. The witness's words helped us understand what really happened. They saw us, but they didn't know everything. They saw enough to make things complicated. After the witness finished, the court looked at us. I felt my stomach tighten. I knew I had to answer questions, but I was trying to stay calm. Then suddenly, my cousin stood up. He looked straight at the court and said loudly, "I did it. I kidnapped them. I wanted to see if I could do it and get away with it." The room went silent. Everyone stared at him in shock. I couldn't believe my ears. Did he really just say that? His words were bold but stupid. His lawyer jumped up quickly. "Wait, stop! He's joking, Your Honor. He doesn't mean it. It's a mistake." But the cousin kept talking. "It's true. I wanted to see if I could do it. I'm not sorry." The court was stunned. The judge shook their head. The jury looked confused. The whole room was in chaos. I looked at my cousin. I felt a strange mix of anger and disbelief. Why did he say that? Did he think he could be funny? Did he not understand the trouble he was causing? Then something even more shocking happened. The lawyer looked nervous. He whispered to the translator, a calm person sitting nearby. The translator nodded and stepped forward. He opened his mouth to speak. "There is something you should see," he said softly. He took out a small paper and showed it to the court. It was a picture of my cousin's tattoo. The tattoo was in a foreign language, and it had words written in a script I didn't understand. The translator explained loudly, "This tattoo says, 'Dumb American,' in a foreign language. It is written in a way that many people might not understand. It is a joke, a mockery meant for him." Everyone gasped. They looked at my cousin's tattoo. The court burst into whispers and some chuckles. My cousin stared at the tattoo, confused. He turned to me and asked, "What is it? Why is everyone laughing?" His lawyer looked worried. "You see," he said carefully, "your tattoo calls you 'dumb American' in a language you do not understand. It was meant as a joke, but now it is very serious." My cousin's face turned red. He looked at his tattoo and then at everyone laughing. He didn't realize what his own tattoo said. He was so proud and confident, but he didn't see the damage. The court was loud now. Some people kept laughing. Others looked surprised. My cousin's face showed how foolish he had been. He finally begged, "Please, let me explain." He turned to his lawyer and said, "Help me, what happened?" His lawyer looked nervous. He tried to help, but the damage was done. The court had already heard enough. I felt sad. My cousin's pride had led him to confess foolishly. His own words and his tattoo had shown everyone how silly he was being. Now his shame was clear. The judge looked at us carefully. "This is a serious matter," they said. We see what the evidence shows. But remember, everyone makes mistakes." The courtroom slowly quieted down. I looked at my cousin. He still looked proud, but I could see he was also hurt and confused. I knew things would never be the same. Our bond, our trust, was breaking because of one stupid confession and a funny tattoo. As the court ended for the day, I thought about what I learned. Pride and foolish words can ruin everything, even family and friends. I took a deep breath and promised myself to be more careful, to think before I speak, to remember that sometimes our own mistakes come back to haunt us. And I looked at my cousin, knowing that this day would change us forever. We had to face the consequences of our actions and learn that sometimes karma collects its dues in the strangest ways. That's what I learned today. The truth can be sharp, and sometimes justice is very ironic. All because of a foolish tattoo and a careless word. I sat in the courtroom. The room was full of many people. The judge sat high on his chair. The jury looked serious. Everyone was quiet and still. I felt nervous. My cousin, Cousin A, sat next to me. His face was pale. His hands trembled a little. We both knew things had gotten very bad. Suddenly, the judge looked at Cousin A and asked, "Did you have anything to say?" His voice was calm but firm. Everyone watched us closely. Cousin A took a deep breath. Then he did something we all did not expect. He stood up and spoke loudly. "I did it. I kidnapped the person." The courtroom went silent. Everyone stared. The judge raised his eyebrows. The jury whispered to each other. Even I was surprised. Cousin A just told the truth, but it made everything worse. His lawyer jumped up, trying to stop him. "Stop! You shouldn't say that now," he whispered loudly. But it was too late. Cousin A kept talking. "I thought I could get away with it. I was too proud and stupid," he said. "I thought I was clever." People gasped. The judge looked shocked. The lawyer looked worried. I felt embarrassed for him. I knew that words like these could cause trouble. Suddenly, the lawyer rushed to Cousin A and said, "Sit down. Be quiet." But Cousin A kept talking. Then something strange happened. The court clerk brought in a translator. The translator was a calm, quiet person. He spoke in a gentle voice. "Your tattoo," the translator said, "is written in a foreign language. It says dumb American." The room became very quiet again. Everyone looked at Cousin A. I looked at his arm. I saw the tattoo. It was written in strange letters. I had seen it before, but I never knew what it meant. Now I understood. It was a mockery, a joke made by someone else. But now it was more than that. The court erupted into whispers and laughter. People looked at Cousin A and laughed. He didn't seem to understand why. He looked at his arm and then at the translator. "What's going on?" he asked loudly. "Why are they laughing?" His lawyer quickly tried to explain. "It's a tattoo in another language. It means dumb American. It was meant as a joke, but now it looks bad." Cousin A looked confused. "I didn't know. I didn't mean that," he said. "I'm innocent." But everyone knew the truth now. The tattoo proved how foolish he was. His arrogance had made him confess, and now he was humiliated. The judge spoke carefully. "This case is very strange. The fact that your own tattoo calls you dumb American is very important. It shows your pride led you to say things you should not have." The jury listened and nodded. They saw that Cousin A's words and tattoo told a story of foolish pride and mistakes. I looked at Cousin B, my cousin's brother. He sat quietly, watching everything. I could see he was upset. He trusted Cousin A, but now he felt betrayed. His face showed anger and sadness. He looked away. The courtroom was quiet again. Everyone was thinking about what had just happened. Cousin A sat down slowly. His face was red and embarrassed. His hands clenched into fists. The lawyer whispered in his ear, "You should stay quiet now. No more talking." But Cousin A looked confused. He didn't seem to understand how badly he had hurt himself. The judge called for order. "This court will now decide what happens next," he said. But everyone already knew the story had changed. The foolish words and the tattoo had made everything worse for Cousin A. As I sat there, I thought about what had just happened. His pride and his foolishness made him say things he didn't think about. The tattoo, which was supposed to be a joke, ended up being a big problem. It showed everyone how silly he was. I looked at him. He was still trying to act brave. But I knew inside he felt small and lost. His own pride had turned against him. The court stayed quiet for a moment. Then the judge spoke again. "This case is complicated, but one thing is clear. Sometimes our own words or our own choices can cause trouble. We must think carefully before we speak or act." The court case was not over, but one thing was clear. Cousin A's careless confession and his silly tattoo had changed everything. His pride had become his downfall, and I learned something too. Sometimes being too proud or too confident can make us do stupid things. We must be humble and think before we speak. As I listened, I felt a little sad, but I also hoped that maybe, someday, Cousin A would learn his lesson. That day in the courtroom showed me just how quick things can change. One foolish mistake can spoil everything. But sometimes, those mistakes teach us what really matters. And that is the end of this story for now. I walk into the courtroom. My heart is pounding. The room is full of people and loud with noises. The judge sits high, and everyone looks serious. I see my cousin sitting in the front row. His face looks worried, but also like he's trying to act brave. I know he made a big mistake. The court is about the kidnapping case. Our names and faces are all over the news. People think we are guilty. I feel nervous. I look at my cousin. He looks confident, but I can tell he is scared inside. Suddenly, he stands up and speaks loudly. "I did it! I kidnapped him!" His voice echoes in the room. Everyone stops. The judge looks surprised. The people in the court whisper to each other. I stare at him. My stomach twists. I want to tell him to stop, but it is too late. He just said it all out loud. The judge raises his hand. "Quiet," he commands. The courtroom becomes silent again. Everyone looks at my cousin. His lawyer quickly stands up. "Your Honor," he says fast, "please don't believe everything. My client is confused. He doesn't know what he is saying." He tries to help, but my cousin keeps talking. "It's true," my cousin shouts. "I did it. I kidnapped him. Nobody can change that." All the people in the courtroom stare at him. The judge looks angry. The lawyer looks worried. I can see that everything is spinning out of control. Then, out of nowhere, the court translator steps forward. He has a calm face. He takes a deep breath and speaks clearly into the microphone. "Your Honor," he says, "this tattoo on my cousin's arm says something in a foreign language." He points at the tattoo. It says "dumb American" in the language of the country where he got it. The courtroom goes quiet. I look at the tattoo. It is written in strange letters. I remember he showed it to me before. I never knew what it meant. The translator continues. "This tattoo makes fun of him. It is a joke that mocks his own country." He looks at my cousin. It is a sign that he is not very smart. He thought he was clever, but his own tattoo shows he is foolish. The court erupts with gasps and whispers. People are surprised. Some start to laugh quietly. My cousin's face turns red. He looks confused. He doesn't understand what the translator just said. He points at his arm and asks his lawyer, "What does that mean? I don't get it." His lawyer quickly tries to explain, but I can see he is worried. The court is talking and laughing. The judge bangs his gavel, trying to get order. "Order," the judge yells. This is a serious court, but this tattoo shows something important. It shows that the defendant may have made foolish choices. We will consider this carefully. Everyone looks at my cousin. He is silent now. His pride is gone. He thought he was smart, but his own tattoo proves he was wrong. I feel sad. He was so confident before. Now he looks small and embarrassed. I want to help him, but I also realize he did this to himself. My other cousin, who is sitting nearby, looks angry and disappointed. He trusted his brother, but now he sees the truth. I see tears in his eyes. The court continues. They talk about what to do next. But I know that this moment will stay in my mind. His own mistake, his pride, and that silly tattoo all caused this chaos. I think about what I learned today. Sometimes people think they are clever, but they are not. Pride and arrogance can lead to big trouble. Words and actions have consequences, and foolish pride can break everything. As I leave the courtroom, I look at my cousin one last time. I hope he learns something from all this. I hope he understands that being humble is better than pretending to be something he is not. This whole day was a lesson. Sometimes, our own choices hurt us most, and the truth, no matter how hidden or funny, will always come out in the end. Even with a tattoo that says, "Dumb American," karma finds a way to teach us what really matters. The courtroom quiets down. Everyone begins to leave. I walk out feeling tired, but also a little wiser. I know that in this game of life, sometimes the biggest lessons come from the biggest mistakes. I sit in the courtroom, feeling nervous. The room is big and loud. People are staring at me and my cousin. The air is thick with tension. Everyone waits to hear what will happen next. I look at my cousin. He looks confident, but I can see he is scared inside. His face is red. I know he's worried about what the court will decide. I feel a little sorry for him, but I also feel angry. Why did he say that? I wonder. Across the room, the lawyer is talking quickly to the judge. He is trying to fix what happened. My cousin blinked and then suddenly spoke up in court. He told everyone he was guilty. He didn't think about what it would mean. He just wanted to show he was brave. The judge frowns. The jury listens carefully. The witness, a nervous person, sits quietly and looks down. They saw everything but are still scared to speak. Suddenly, my cousin stands up and says loudly, "Yes, I did it. I kidnapped her. I am guilty." The words come out before he can think. Everyone gasps. "Why did you do that?" His lawyer whispers urgently, but my cousin keeps talking. "I wanted to be brave. I thought I could outsmart everyone. I was stupid." The room falls silent. Everyone is surprised. The lawyer quickly tries to stop him, but it's too late. The judge looks serious. The jury is quiet. Then the court helper brings in a translator. The translator is calm and wise. They step forward and say, "I can help explain something very important." Everyone watches. The translator points to my cousin's arm. There is a tattoo there. It's written in a strange language. The translator begins to speak slowly. This tattoo says "Dumb American" in a language from far away. The courtroom gasps again. I look at my cousin's face. He doesn't understand. He asks, "What? What does that mean?" The translator explains, "Your tattoo makes fun of you. It calls you dumb American. It was done to mock you." My cousin's face turns redder. He looks at his arm. He sees the words and realizes what they mean. He had no idea his tattoo was saying that. It's a joke on him, carved forever. The court erupts in laughter. Some people laugh loudly, others smile. My cousin is stunned. He keeps asking, "What? I didn't know." I feel a mix of shock and sadness. He was so proud and confident. Now, everyone can see that he's not so smart after all. His foolishness is clear. He turns to his lawyer. "Explain," he begs. "Please explain what just happened." His lawyer looks worried, but tries to explain. "Your tattoo is a foreign phrase. It means dumb American. It's a joke, yes, but it is also a reminder that pride can make us blind." The judge clears his throat. He looks at my cousin. "Your own words and your own tattoo have shown your true character," he says. "Pride without humility can lead to trouble." I watch as the courtroom listens. The judge then talks about justice. He says that everyone must be honest and think before they speak. My cousin sits down slowly. He looks ashamed. I see tears in his eyes. He didn't mean to harm himself, but his pride caused this mess. I feel tired inside. I wanted everything to be fair. Now I see how foolish words, even tattoos, can hurt us. The court begins to decide what will happen next. But I know one thing for sure. This case has shown everyone that pride and foolishness can break even the strongest bonds. As I leave the courtroom, I think about what I learned. If you're proud, that's okay, but you must be careful, because sometimes pride can blind you. It can make you say or do things you regret. And I understand now that the truth is a sharp blade. It cuts deep, but it also sets you free. If you stay honest and humble, maybe you can avoid the big mistakes. I walk out, feeling a little wiser. The courtroom's laughter still echoes in my mind. I know one thing: karma is real. It always catches up, no matter how proud you are. And I hope next time my cousin will think twice before talking. Because sometimes being brave isn't about what you say or do. It's about knowing who you really are inside. I sit quietly in the courtroom. Everything is quiet, but my mind is loud. I just made a big mistake. I told everyone I kidnapped someone. I was angry and needed to say something. Now everyone looks at me like I am crazy. My head feels hot, and I want to hide. My brother, Cousin B, is sitting next to me. His face looks sad. He wanted me to stay calm, but I didn't listen. I see him look at me with a strange look. Maybe he's disappointed. Maybe he is angry. I don't know. All I know is that I messed up. The judge is sitting up high. The jury is watching us. The prosecutor is smiling a little. She seems happy that I made a mistake. I feel terrible. Suddenly, something strange happens. A man steps forward. He is calm and quiet. He is the translator. He speaks a different language, but he knows what my tattoo means. He says, "Your tattoo says dumb American in a foreign language. It is written on your arm." I stare at him. My face turns red. I didn't know my tattoo told people I am stupid. I thought it was just a cool design. But now, I see that it is a cruel joke. It is like a mark that says I am not very smart. The courtroom goes silent. Then, everyone starts to laugh. The judge, the jury, even the lawyer and prosecutor. They all laugh at me. I feel more embarrassed than ever. I stand up and shout, "What? What did he say? Explain!" My lawyer rushes to my side. He tries to tell everyone what the translator said. He says the tattoo is a joke. It mocks the owner. It calls him dumb American. I look at my arm. I don't remember when I got that tattoo. I didn't think it meant anything. I just liked the way it looked. Now I see it was a mistake to get it. It was a stupid thing to do. Everyone in the court is still laughing. I feel like I am in a bad dream. How could I be so foolish? How did I not see this coming? Cousin B looks at me with sad eyes. He shakes his head. I know he is upset. Maybe he feels ashamed of me. The judge finally speaks. This court needs to focus on the case, but this tattoo shows us something important. It shows that pride and foolishness can cause trouble. Be careful what you say and do. I sit down slowly. My legs feel weak. I want to hide. I wish I could take back what I said. I want to be better, but I know I made a big mistake. The prosecutor looks at me and smiles. She says, "This case is not just about the kidnapping. It's about how foolish pride can ruin a person's life. Today we see that even a small mistake, like a tattoo, can change everything." My lawyer whispers to me, "Don't worry, we will fix this, but you must learn from your mistakes." I nod quietly. I know he is right. I need to be more careful. I need to think before I speak or act. Pride can be dangerous if you don't watch out. The courtroom starts to settle down. The judge gives a small smile. The trial will go on, but I have learned something very important today. I look at Cousin B. He still seems upset, but I want him to know I am sorry. I made a fool of myself, but I want to be better. I want to fix my mistakes. As I sit there, I think about what happened. I think about my tattoo. I think about how pride can make us do silly things. And I realize that sometimes we learn the most from our biggest mistakes. The court will decide what happens next. But I know one thing for sure. I will never forget this lesson. Pride and foolishness can break us. But if we are humble and honest, we can fix our mistakes. I take a deep breath. I am ready to face whatever comes next. I am not perfect, but I want to be better. And I hope that next time, I will think more before I speak. The court begins again. The story is not over, but I have already learned a big lesson today. And that lesson is this: be careful with pride. It can make you do foolish things. But if you are humble and honest, you can always find a way back. I sit in the courtroom. My head is down. I feel very embarrassed. My face is hot. I know I made a big mistake. I said too much. I told the truth, but it got me into more trouble. Everyone is looking at me. The judge, the jury, the lawyers, even the witness. They all heard what I said, and what I said was not smart. I wish I could hide. My Cousin B, stands nearby. I can see he's angry and disappointed. He looks at me with sad eyes. I want to talk to him, but I don't know what to say. The lawyer, Mr. Garcia, steps forward. He looks worried. He was trying to help me, but now he looks like he's running out of ideas. "Sit down, please," the judge says. Her voice is firm. This court needs to understand what happened. I try to stay quiet. I know I caused a big mess. I thought I was clever, but now I see I was just foolish. Suddenly, the court officer calls a person to the stand. It is the translator, Miss Lay. She is calm and gentle. Miss Lay looks at me and then at the tattoo on my arm. It is a foreign word, but I don't understand what it means. She gently speaks into a microphone. She says, "This tattoo says, 'Dumb American,' in another language. It was meant as a joke, but now it shows how silly you are." Everyone gasps. Some people laugh softly. Others look surprised. I don't understand everything she's saying, but I see the meaning on her face. I stare at my arm. I never knew the tattoo meant that. I thought it was just words, but now I see it is a joke that makes me look stupid. I feel like crying. How could I be so blind? I thought I was clever, but I was just foolish. Cousin B steps closer. He whispers to me, "You did this to yourself. Your pride made you careless." His voice is sad but honest. I want to say I am sorry. I want to tell him I did not mean to embarrass him or hurt our family. But I don't have the words. The judge looks at me and then at the court. "This case is about truth," she says. "But sometimes the truth can hurt us if we are not careful." The prosecutor, Mr. Lee, smiles. He looks at me and says, "Your own foolishness has caught you. Your pride made you confess. And now your tattoo shows everyone how silly you are." Everyone in the court begins to laugh. Not because they are mean, but because the situation is so strange. A man who thought he was smart ended up revealing his biggest weakness. I feel small and embarrassed. I want to run away, but I cannot. The lawyer, Mr. Garcia, speaks again. "This boy made a big mistake, but he is learning. Sometimes we learn the hard way. Pride can make us blind." The judge nods. She looks at us and says, "This lesson is about humility. Pride can make us think we are better than others, but everyone makes mistakes." I look at my Cousin B. I see tears in his eyes. I realize I have hurt him with my foolish words. Our bond, our blood, feels broken now. The court begins to talk about the case. They talk about what to do next. But I know one thing for sure. I made a big mistake. I was proud and careless, and now I see the price I pay. I look at my tattoo again. That stupid joke. It will stay on my arm forever. A reminder that pride and foolishness can destroy us. As I leave the court, I feel humiliated, but also a little wiser. I know I must change. I must learn to be humble and careful. Because now I understand. Karma is real. It collects what we owe, with interest. And I just paid a big price for my pride. I walk out, head bowed, ready to face the lessons I have learned. I hope I can fix what I broke and become a better person. And I know one thing for sure. Next time, I will be careful with my words and my pride. Because I don't want to make this mistake again. I sat in the courtroom, my head hanging low. My heart felt heavy, heavy with shame. I had made a big mistake. Just moments ago, I had blurted out words I didn't think about. My words had caused a storm. Now everyone was staring at me. The judge, the jury, my cousin B, and even the lawyer looked surprised and worried. I looked around. I saw the faces of the people in the room. They were angry, confused, and some even laughed quietly. I felt small inside. I was supposed to be confident, but now I just wanted to disappear. Cousin B was sitting beside me. His face looked tired. He looked at me with sad eyes. I knew he was upset because of what I did. I wanted to say I was sorry, but my voice was stuck. The lawyer was trying to calm everyone. He was whispering to the judge and looking at me nervously. I knew he was worried about what was going to happen next. Then something strange happened. The prosecutor called someone to the front of the court. It was a translator. The translator was calm and quiet. Everyone watched carefully. The translator looked at my arm. I hadn't noticed it before, but I saw the strange tattoo on my skin. It was in a language I didn't understand. The translator pointed to it and spoke slowly. He said, "This tattoo says in foreign script, 'Dumb American.'" Everyone in the room gasped. The judge, the jury, even my cousin B looked shocked. I felt a cold wave of confusion. I didn't know what he meant. The translator explained, "This tattoo is a joke. It mocks the person it is on. It calls him dumb American in a foreign language. It was meant to be funny or mean, but now it shows something important." I looked at my arm again. I saw the words. I didn't understand the language, but I knew it wasn't good. I had been so proud of my tattoo before. I thought it was funny or cool. But now I saw it was a mistake. It was a mark that said, "I am stupid." Everyone started to laugh softly, not because they thought I was funny, but because of the irony. I had made a foolish mistake. I had been so full of pride that I didn't see what my own tattoo said about me. I felt tears come into my eyes. I looked at Cousin B. He was angry and hurt. I wanted to tell him I was sorry. I wanted to tell everyone I didn't mean to be stupid, but I couldn't. My words were stuck again. The judge spoke softly. "This case is not only about kidnapping. It is about pride, mistakes, and lessons. Sometimes our own words and actions can hurt us very badly." I understood then. My pride had made me reckless. I thought I was clever, but I was just foolish. I had believed I could outsmart everyone. I thought I was stronger than my mistakes, but I was wrong. Cousin B leaned over and whispered, "You should be careful. Pride can blind us. It can make us do stupid things." I nodded. I felt embarrassed. I wanted to fix everything, but I knew I couldn't undo what I had said or done. I only could learn from it. The court finally finished the case. The judge looked at us and said, "Because of your actions and mistakes, you will face the consequences. But remember, pride and foolishness can hurt more than any punishment. The best thing is to be humble and honest." After the court, I stayed quiet. I thought about everything. I realized that my arrogance had caused all this trouble. I saw how my words and pride had broken my trust with others. I understood that being proud is good, but only if you are also honest and kind. Cousin B came close and put his hand on my shoulder. "We are family," he said softly. "We make mistakes, but we also learn. I hope you learn to be humble, not just proud." I nodded again. I knew he was right. I had to change. I had to stop thinking I was better than everyone else. I had to be honest about who I was. That day I learned a big lesson. Pride can hide the truth. It can make us blind to our own mistakes. And sometimes our own silly pride can lead us to ruin. As I walked out of the courtroom, I looked at my arm again. I saw the words, "Dumb American," in the foreign language. I understood now. That tattoo was a mirror. It showed me that I had been too proud, too sure of myself. I promised myself I would be better. I would be humble. I would listen and learn, because I knew now that pride and foolishness can destroy even the strongest bonds, and only humility can help us grow and become better. The laughter in the courtroom echoed behind me, but I didn't feel like laughing. I felt like I had been shown the truth, and that truth was a hard but necessary lesson. That day, I learned that karma always collects what you owe, and sometimes it pays with a lesson you will never forget. I stand in the courtroom. The room is loud with voices and feelings. Everyone is watching me. I feel very nervous. I just made a big mistake. I told the truth, but it was not smart. My cousin, Cousin A, looks confused and worried. Cousin B looks upset and angry. The judge, the lawyer, and the prosecutor all watch us carefully. I know what I did. I was scared and just wanted to tell everything. But now I see how much trouble I caused. I want to hide, but I can't. I must stay brave and tell the truth. The courtroom is quiet for a moment. Then the judge speaks. "We will now hear what the translator has to say about the tattoos," he says. Everyone turns to the translator. The translator is a calm, wise person. He speaks slowly and clearly. "The tattoo on Cousin A's arm is written in a foreign language," he explains. It says, "Dumb American," in that language. A gasp runs through the room. Everyone looks at Cousin A. His face turns red. He does not understand. He never knew his tattoo meant that. He just thought it looked cool. He was proud of his tattoos. The courtroom starts to laugh. Some people laugh loudly. Others shake their heads. The judge frowns, but also tries not to smile. Cousin A finally speaks. "What? My tattoo says I am dumb American? I didn't know that. I thought it was just a cool design." His voice is full of surprise and sadness. "I never meant to be made fun of. I just wanted to look tough." His lawyer quickly steps forward. "Your Honor," he says carefully, "this tattoo was never meant to be a joke. It was a mistake, but now it shows how foolish my client was. He was proud without thinking." The prosecutor nods. "Your Honor," she says, "this case is not just about the kidnapping. It is about pride and foolishness. This tattoo is a mark of that. It is a reminder of how pride can lead to bad choices." The judge looks at everyone. "This case has shown us many lessons," he says. "Pride, foolishness, and not thinking before we act can cause big problems. The tattoos on Cousin A's arm are a symbol of his mistakes. He thought he was clever, but he was not." He pauses and then speaks again. "Everyone, remember this. Be humble. Think carefully before you speak or act. Pride can lead to your downfall. I look at my cousins. I see how much they have changed. Cousin A looks sad, but also a little wiser. Cousin B looks disappointed but hopeful. The courtroom starts to quiet down. The judge speaks. Because of all that has happened, the court will decide what is fair. But remember, everyone makes mistakes. What matters is to learn from them. The court begins to give its decision. It is not easy, but it is fair. The judge says that both cousins will have to face the consequences, but they also need to understand their mistakes. After the court ends, I feel a strange mix of relief and sadness. I am glad the truth is out, but I also see that pride and foolishness can break even the strongest bonds. My cousins walk away quietly. I hope they will learn to be humble and honest. I hope they will remember that pride is not always a good thing. As I leave the courtroom, I think about what I learned. Sometimes our own words or actions can hurt us more than others. It is better to be kind, truthful, and humble. And I know this: karma, or what we get back for our actions, is real. It can come quickly and sometimes in a way we never expect. That is why we should always try to be good and honest. I walk outside. The sun is shining. The court's lessons are clear. Pride can be a trap, but honesty and humility will always help us grow. This is the end of this chapter, but the story isn't over. The lessons stay in my mind, and I hope one day everyone will remember to be kind, honest, and humble, because that is the best way to find true happiness. I sat quietly in the courtroom. The room was very still, but I felt a loud noise inside my head. I knew the court was waiting for the next step. Everyone was looking at me. My cousin, who had just made that terrible confession, looked worried. I felt my stomach turn. This was the final moment. Everything was changing very fast. I looked at my cousin. His face was red and sad. His foolish words had caused so much trouble. I wanted to tell him to be quiet, but it was too late. The court was listening. Suddenly, the translator stepped forward. He was calm and serious. He looked at my cousin's arm and then at everyone in the courtroom. He took a deep breath and then spoke. He said, "The tattoo on his arm is in a language from another country. It says he is a dumb American." The words hit the room like a loud bang. Everyone gasped. The judge paused. The jury looked surprised. The prosecutor's eyes widened. My cousin stared at the translator. He didn't understand. He looked at his own arm and then at everyone around him. He kept asking, "What does that mean? What did I say?" The translator explained carefully. "It means someone has written a joke about him. It calls him dumb American. It is a mark that makes fun of him. It is a mockery." For a moment, everything was silent. Then suddenly, the courtroom burst into laughter. Not mean laughter, but loud and surprised. People couldn't believe what they saw. The tattoo, which my cousin didn't even realize he had, was now a symbol of his foolish pride. My cousin looked worried. He was confused. He kept asking, "What did I do wrong? Why are they laughing?" His lawyer tried to speak. He told him, "You have a tattoo that mocks you. It was meant as a joke in another language. You didn't see it before, but now everyone knows." I saw my cousin's face turn pale. He had been so proud of himself, so sure he was clever. But now, his own stupid pride had betrayed him. His own tattoo was calling him a fool. He looked at his lawyer and begged, "Please explain. Please tell them I didn't know. I didn't mean to say anything wrong." His lawyer shook his head and said, "It's too late now. The court sees your true mistake. You thought you were smart, but you weren't careful. That tattoo shows everyone the truth about you." The judge looked at the court. He said, "This case is not just about a kidnapping. It is about pride, foolishness, and the truth." The tattoo made everything clear. The court will now decide what is right. I looked at my cousin. I felt sad. His foolish pride had made him look very silly. His own mistake had destroyed him. I knew he had learned a hard lesson. Sometimes being too proud makes us blind. It can even ruin us. After the court finished, everyone started to leave. The court's laughter and the story of the tattoo stayed in my mind. I thought about how pride and stupidity can hurt us very much. The truth is like a sharp sword. It cuts deep, especially when we don't see our own mistakes. As I walked out of the court, I looked at my cousin. He was quiet now. He was no longer confident. He was just a boy who made a big mistake. I knew that from now on, he would think more before he spoke or acted. That day, I learned something very important. Pride can be a big trap, and sometimes the biggest lessons come from our own foolishness. Karma, or what we call "what goes around comes around," had caught him. His pride and his mistake had come back to him, and now he had to face the truth. I looked up at the sky that was turning dark. I felt a little sad, but also hopeful. We all make mistakes, but the most important thing is to learn from them. To be honest and humble. That way, maybe we can avoid many problems in the future. And as I walked away, I thought about how justice is not always careful or kind. Sometimes it laughs at us first, and then teaches us a lesson. That is how life works. This was the end of the story for today, but I knew that the story of the cousins and their foolish pride would stay with me for a long time. It was a reminder that no matter how smart we think we are, we must be careful, because sometimes our own mistakes can turn into the biggest lessons of our lives.